Good evening, everyone, once again. My name is Muhyiddin Olalikon, where the founder of Nakelgreen Incorporated. And from what you can see, I want to assume we can all see my screen, right? Please, I need a response. If you can see my screen, if you cannot, you can just let me know, please.
Right,
Response.
I can see your screen. I can see your screen very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yes, we can see your phone already.
Thank you very much. So, like I said earlier, my name is Muhyiddin Aware, founder of Nakelgreen. And yeah, I've been into the tech space for about 12 years now. And I've cut across so many branches when it comes to the IT sector, basically. Right now, we are doing data analytics, right? And basically, if you really want to reach me, this is everything about me. You can check me up on LinkedIn. And if you really want to uh, get or send correspondence to Nakelgreen or a personal mail, which is what we are seeing on the screen, basically. So that's me, as regards me, basically. So my background check, yeah, very cool. In order not to waste much of our time, I think I don't really need much of introduction, basically. So we just move straight to the work we really want to do today. Today, basically, is going to be about onboarding, right? Onboarding every one of us into the class, stating what we really want to learn and trying to expose us to so many other things that maybe new things, right? Some of us might have heard one or two things together before, but of course, we can really assure you that this particular class we had more to your knowledge as regards to everything we've already learned from experience. It has always been like that. So I'm sure this particular class will be an exception also. So let's just move straight up to her class. So the person you are seeing on my screen on the screen is Sonny Hussein Oladile. He's the co-facilitator of Nakelgreen data analytics team, basically. So he will be the one in charge of so many other things aside when it comes to the spiritual aspect, when it comes to getting feedbacks from us, when it comes to answering so many questions as regards whatever thing we are going to learn, right? So he's also as capable as high, basically. So he's the co-facilitator and he's also a digital marketer, digital marketing professional, as you can see. You can also check him up on LinkedIn and this is social media handle. He has worked with multinationals. He's still working with some of the big multinational when it comes to digital marketing. And yeah, he's an expert. And he has always been on tour, right? Of course, and do talks when it comes to some social media weeks, big tech events, and the like. So we nickname him HS. So if you really want to call him, we can call him HS. So anytime you hear me call HS, I'm referring to him basically. So that's him, and that's his picture. Yeah. So just to move straight to the class proper, I think it's always very important for us to have one or two things when it comes to guidelines to do's and don'ts of the class. We are adults, but of course, it's important for us to also give ourselves some rules that really governs our class, that will make our class each free. It won't really give us so many, how will I put it? It won't give us anything aside the proper thing we think we should learn. So we don't want distraction. We want utmost focus, 100% focus in class, because that is the only thing we can really put in to getting 100%, 110% of whatever thing we really want to learn in class. It's a long journey, right? But of course, something you are going to start today for obvious reason. We are going to end it one day also, and we are going to like learn and learn so many things along the line, which we are sure it's going to happen, right? So we can all see this. Of course, we will screenshot this and also send it to the group for us to see. So I think there are some important things I just need to like point out for us, especially number one. We should find a clean, quiet space where we can really stay and learn and see whatever thing we really want to do. So we should let our household members know this is a class and they should not disturb us, blah, 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 blah. And it's very important for us to have 100% concentration. All these rules are things that really enhance her concentration in class, full concentration in class. Another thing I think is very important also is our full names. Our full names need to be show up on the chat box. Anytime we're on call, we should try as much as possible to always put in our name. Nicknames are not accepted. So please and please, our names are very, very important. So yeah, we should mute until we are required to talk normal. And yeah, if you are using a video call, we should try as much as possible to use a good background, which will really suit whatever thing we are really doing in class. So most of the time, we don't necessarily use this basically. So we should be on time. We should come to class on time. Yeah, it's always very important coming to class in time. It's very, very important. Then we should pay attention, make eye contact. That is when, if we are doing video call, when I mean video call, turn on your video and we are trying to like explain things to me or to any other facilitator. We should try most of us to make eye contact. Respect everyone in class, I think is very, very important. The don'ts, very, very important also. I think the use of vulgar and disrespectful language is prohibited. I think from our previous classes, these ones, we've not really experienced this because we believe we are all adults and we understand ourselves, and I think we respect each other. We've not really experienced any of all these things. Another thing I really want to like tell you also is please and please, you don't take screenshots or use a cell phone to like snap or do any other thing in class, except the instructor asks you to do that. And one other thing basically is after every class that we do, we normally give out videos. So this class is recorded. So if we really want to go back to whatever thing we've discussed in class, we can always go back to it. And something that we've been able to like eliminate, right? This is a Zoom call. We would try as much as possible to also upload this class on YouTube. So the YouTube we upload it to is not for general people. Is exactly the way Zoom link also does their own. The only thing we try as much as well to eliminate is the password. So if you don't have the link to the class, or if you don't have the link to the YouTube, to link to the video, you can never get the video. So basically the video is hidden, right? So if you go to the YouTube channel, you won't find those videos there, except you have the link to check those videos. So we had issues in our previous classes, people complaining about anytime they really want to go check videos, go back to those videos. There is always use of password, and most of the time is always very cumbersome, right? And anytime they always start afresh. If they stop today and they want to continue maybe in an hour's time or something, they start afresh, which is always very, very cumbersome, not easy for them. So we try to devise a means by uploading those videos to YouTube, but of course, it's going to be on an unlisted video where people cannot see it. General people cannot see it. So it's still exact video we upload. We have on Zoom call, right? That is being recorded on Zoom call that we have there. So if you don't have the link, you can't get it. So the idea of maybe every people or general people or public will see the videos we're having here is a no. So it's still a sacred as possible, right? Basically, except if you give an outsider the link, and that's when the outsider or the individual will be able to access that particular video, which is also very prohibited in class, right? So I think it's very, very important to have all these things. We are still going to screenshot this, send it to the group and for everybody to see, because this is always very good. It guides us. It makes sure that our class is smooth. We run our class smoothly, and everybody gain exactly what we intend to give out, right? So, which I think is very, very important also. So, let's start to her class exactly. So we are saying this is an onboarding class, right? Just to explain what data analytics is before we start all the paparazzi as regards the tools we really want to use. So this class, we explain everything we want to do, explain the tools we want to use, and of course, if time permits us also, we start off. Of course, it's also part of our program today to start off with the first tool we are going to use today, right? So we just need to explain one or two things as regard data analytics, right? And of course, see how best we can easily enjoy every bit of the class. So when it comes to data, what do you mean by data? So this is just for people that are new to data analytics, right? You've been hearing data analytics, data analytics, data analytics. What do you really mean by data analytics? I think it's important for us to know this. If you have one or two, maybe a jotter, we can start jotting them down. However, the videos are also will be available at the end of the class. So I think that is also a plus for you, right? This is very important because many of us want to attend this class, not for anything, but of course, should learn one or two skills at the same time to be able to gain job, right? To get job at the end of this class. You should have add these skills to your skill set, right? At the same time, when the skill set is in need, you should be able to use them. And most of the time, before they can allow you practice all these things, I think it's they will always ask you some theoretical question as regards data analytics. That's why this particular aspect is as important as the other classes, right? So I think it's important we know this. So what do you mean by data? So you've seen it all, right? Data is a set of values of quantitative and qualitative variables. They are just values, right? All those values, the numbers, the names, right? The dates that we have inside a confined place, right? They are all data, right? Those are all data. So this information can be organized or unorganized. It can be raw. Raw means like you collected it from the streets, collected it from, you collected it from where you sampled the survey, right? Do you understand? That's the raw data. You've not really treated it. It's not structured. It's unorganized, right? Most data are all organized, Is your work to make all those data organized, structure them, right? And make sure it is usable. And you can easily draw insight from all those data, right? It may be a fact, figures, characters, or symbols, right? You can see vivid explanation to this thing. Very, very important, right? Information is meaningful or organized data is, organized data is information, right? Meaningful or organized data is information, which comes from analyzing those data. So when you have all these raw data, as a data analyst, you should be able to analyze them, draw insight from those data, and you can make meaningful decisions from those data. It might not necessarily be you, but of course, your work, you make that particular data more easier for people in the highest, perhaps your MD, your team lead, you understand, to see and draw conclusion to making meaningful data. So what is analytics? So yeah, the way we do our classes, basically, I'm sorry, our call names, we call people by name to read, to ask questions, and almost every time I will be doing that. That's the way we teach, just for everybody to come along. Then your heart and everything, you embody yourself into this class. So I'll start calling people to read along, right? and of course, explain whatever things they think it means to them before I now give my own verdict as regards all these things, right? So I'll start calling people, but of course, it's going to be after this data analytics thing. And so analytics basically is this discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns, right? Or summary in data, right? Basically, that's just the simple meaning in terms of analytics. We've not really added data into it. Analytics basically is the discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns. So we've discovered a particular trend in our data, right? Those trends are what? These, and these. From those trends, we should be able to like infer, right? And say these are the things that might be happening. Most of the time, most of the data we use are descriptive data, right? So we'll get there. So those descriptive data will describe what has happened in your company, right? At the same time, why are these things happening in terms of sales, in terms of marketing, in terms of employee attritions, in terms of so many other things, right? Those data gives you an insight to making vivid decision. That is the meaning of analysis. So if you now add data to it, if you add data to it, it's just like using data to discover, to interpret, and to communicate meaningful patterns in what you already have. So it's a process of examining data, right, in order to draw conclusion about information it contains, and that's all. That's all. So we've got tools to doing all these things. So it's not about just using our brain. It's not about just using mathematics. In those days, they are mathematical models that we would have to use to getting these patterns. You understand what I'm saying? But nowadays, computers, they've been able to build those models into computer. Ours is just to know how to use those models to getting the information. We don't even need to know their names. We don't even need to know how it works. Our own is to know, okay, if I'm working on this is the type of model I should use to like draw information, and that's all as regards that. So if you really feel, oh, mathematics is something huge, no, right? We just need your addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and that's all, right? We don't really need too much of mathematics to getting this, to be a data analyst, right? To be a data analyst, you don't need too much of mathematics, as other people will say, right? Your normal plus or minus, it's okay. Computer will do every other thing you really want to do to getting your desired results. So for primary focus area for analytics, right? So the first thing we need to do basically is to understand our customer behavior. That is very key. Those are the key things, right? Primary focus area for analytics. Please remember all these things. Remember all these things, very important. So because if you are, it's not enough to just hold the data and start working on those data, right? It's important for you to understand why you are working on those data and what are the results you intend to get from those data. So it's very important. So first thing first, understand your customers' behavior, understand the product usage, increase the operational efficiency. So these are the things, these are the reasons why data analytics is very, very important. Analytics is very, very important. It increases what? The operational efficiency. So at a glance, you already know what is happening to our sales. You already know what is happening to our employees. You already know what is happening to marketing. You already know what is happening to people in the office, right? Most people in the office already know what is happening. You already know, you can forecast what will happen in the next 5, 10 years, right? Those are predictive data, right? You are trying to predict what will happen in the next 10, 5, 50 years or 5 years to come. You want to know what will happen to this particular company. So it's important we all know all these things, right? So it increases the business model innovation. So from there, if you understand what is happening, you can easily tweak our business model and say, oh, in the next 2 years or 3 years, this is our model we are running, we go into extinction. And if care is not taken, our company will also go into extinction. We need to tweak our business model. This model is no more working, right? All these things are very, very important. So these are the reasons why we need to like work on what? Analytics, understand analytics. So I think it's important to do all this. Yeah, so What are the analytics examples? So, analytics example, all Wumi, right? Yeah, Wumi. Wumi, is Wumi there? Can you hear me?
Hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, fine, absolutely. Can you please read this for us? The data analytics example, right?
Data analytics example.
Yeah.
We have 1, business analytics. 2, we have risk. 3 is fraud. 4 is health. 5 is web.
Yeah, basically. So it means where are they applied, right? Where are they applied, right? So basically we understand. Let me just ask you, can you explain the business analytics? What is the application of data analytics in business analytics? Or leave business analytics for me. Leave business analytics for me. Can you explain risk or fraud? Risk or fraud?
So to the best of my knowledge, data analytics helps to understand trends in risk. So it's part of what you do as risk analysis. It helps you identify your key risk indicators.
Okay, fine. You're right. So basically, risk is how to mitigate. Most of the time, we don't really eliminate risk in business, right? And also in projects, right? We cannot totally eliminate risk in projects or businesses. The only thing we can always do is we can try as much as well to mitigate the risk, right? Reduce it, right? We reduce it. Once we know this is what is going to happen, right? We can always reduce that particular risk. So data analytics basically help us to foresee what will happen, right? So sometimes it might happen, it might not happen, right? So if it happens, we already know. So we factored those things into our business model. We factor those things into our projects, right? Especially those those doing project management. We factor those risks into our project. So we get all this information via what? The data that we have. Based on all these things, we can easily get 1 or 2 information and we can mitigate those risk in our business. Don't forget, don't ever imagine that risk will be eliminated, and don't ever say that, right? It's always the best word to use is trying to mitigate. We can try as much as well to reduce it to the lowest, barest minimum, right? Do you understand? Which means if it happens, we've been able to factor it in, and we have cushion effect. If it's going to be in terms of money, in terms of manpower, in terms of so many other things that we think we can really cushion the effect of this risk, the data will really help us to getting this particular information, right? In terms of business analytics, why I said you should leave that for me is because I felt, okay, we've discussed what analytics is, right? So in business analytics, business in the whole form of business, right? It really gives an insight to how your business needs to be run, right? It gives an insight to how your business needs to be run. So for fraud, especially those doing forensic analysis, so data is being used for forensic analysis. So with data, we can easily detect fraud. When you check trends as regards how money is being spent, how money is being used, right? We can easily check all this. That is not using forensic analysis. Basically, it's not about biometrics. It's not only about biometrics. It's not only about checking or physical things, right? Most of the time is only about data. The only thing we just need to do is we just need to be meticulous. We just need to be very, very careful and pay attention to all detail, right? From all these things, you ask questions, and from those questions, you can easily infer and draw conclusions. And these are things that audit firms use, right? Most of the time, many of them uses data, right? It's not as if they've got something special. It's the data they use to get in all these things. They use this data to get and to detect frauds in company, especially the finance department, right? You have an external auditor, you have the internal auditor that audits the company, right? Most of the time it's always about money, right? And sometimes it might be something else apart from money. but data will also be used to detecting this particular fraud. In health, so health basically it's wide, very, very wide. You can use this to detect the performance of a particular drug being administered on people. Yeah, we can use data to detect the performance of a drug being administered on people. And it's not necessarily for you to become, maybe it's not necessarily you're a pharmacist or you're a doctor or you're a nurse or you did a science lab type of science lab technology, right? Forgotten that course. It's not necessary you do that. Maybe the only thing you need to do, know trends, know how to calculate all these things, and of course, know how to draw insight. No, you always see insight from your data, know how to get those insights. And from your insights, you can easily determine and give information, right? You can give summary or description of whatever thing you've gotten, right? From data that you have. With this, you can easily move and of course solve problems. For web, it's very, very enormous, right? Using data for web is very, very enormous. One of the advantage of using data basically is to understand how many people comes or visit my website. Right? From there, you really want to like target people. Maybe you want to do ads. You want to do ads and you want to understand how many people comes, how many males, how many females, how many young, how many youths, how many adolescents, how many adults comes to my website. For example, Facebook uses this a lot. Facebook has over 2.7 billion users, right? From there, you will observe that most of the ads being targeted to you are things that you like most of the time. 70% of those times are things that you like or things you've discussed or things you've searched, right? So web is being used to target people for what? Marketing, for sales, for so many other reasons, right? We can easily use this to even to detect information, to get personal information about people. We can use what? Data analytics to get all these things. And most of the time, if you are into business very well and you understand user persona, it's data that we use to determine, to identifying user persona, right? You know, user persona is just like trying to assume a particular person that owns or that really like your product, right? One person, you are building like 100 or 1,000 people in one person, right? And you cannot get that without data, right? You cannot get that without data. So that's a basic explanation as regards how data analytics is being used in all these areas. Yeah, so I think it's important to know this also. Our business needs. Yeah, the business environment today is more complex than ever before, which is many of us who are entrepreneurs, who have seen everything, or you understand that business of today is more complex than ever before. And that's why we need these business analytics to work very well. Just an explanation of what we've really discussed earlier, right? So businesses are expected to be diligent, responsive to increasing demands of customers, various stakeholders, and even regulators. So your goal, in most cases, primary objective of an organization is to seek to turn to analytics, right? For what? To seek to turn to analytics is what? Revenue / profit growth, which is what I've explained earlier, and optimize your expenditure. Understand who are those guys that were just paying in our company. That's the work of HR, right? We are just paying some guys and they are redundant. We need to like retrench some guys, not because we want to retrench, but because we feel they are not adding to the company. They're not adding any positive things to the company, because I think what they are doing, two or more people, maybe two or more people, what they are doing, we can just add one or two things to one other person and increase the person's salary a little. With that, we eliminate that and we can save more money and invest those money in something else. It has happened a whole lot of times, right? That we save more than 3, 4, 5 million naira and invest it in something else. Not because we want to retrench, but we feel, oh, we can evenly do this with this and of course gain more. And that was with the help of data. And the last thing is the solution aspect, right? So organization basically have been turning into the use of analytics. You will see big organizations using these things, very big organizations using these things. You can see more than 83% of the global CIOs surveyed by IBM in 2010 singled out business intelligence, right? Which is BI. Yeah, BI, business intelligence and analytics, as one of their visionary plans for enhancing competitiveness, right? We will understand what BI means, right? So, of course, we've been talking about analytics. At the same time, business intelligence, right? BI, anywhere you see BI, it means business intelligence. Anywhere you hear BI, it means business intelligence. And it's very, very, very important also for us to know, right? So here are just the process of statistical analysis from hypothesis to these are just ways, right, concerning which we do or we solve problems using data. So we've got an hypothesis. For example, you are called to an organization as a, will I say, how will I put it now? As an analyst, right? Yeah, as an analyst, as an analyst to come and identify what is wrong with the company in terms of what? Sales, in terms of marketing, in terms of employee attrition, basically, right? So we want to really understand that. So from the initial, from the brief, you might have formed your hypothesis, why things it's happening, right? Why that thing is happening from the brief. You might just be thinking maybe because of this, because of this, because of this. So the next thing is to identify your data source, understand the data, right? From your data, we can now prove and disprove your hypothesis. It has happened so many times, and you feel this is the reason why this is happening. But at the end of the day, when you use your data, you can now see that, oh, this thing is something different, right? You've got something different as against what you think is happening, right? So these are the life cycle of data analytics. Life cycle of data analytics, we got the objective, right? We got the understanding of data cleaning. This is one of the most important parts of data analytics, right? If you are doing data analysis, this is one of the most important parts, right? Data cleaning and data transformation, very, very important, right? This is where we spend most of our time in making sure that, because if our data is not clean, and we did not even do let me talk about data clean. If your data is not well cleaned enough, this place, data visualization or even data analytics will be wrong, right? You have a wrong answers, you have a wrong insight to so many things happening. So it's important for us to understand this very well, and this is the most important part of data analysis, right? So data cleaning and data transformation, which we will see, right? How do we do this? And data enhancement, right? Sometimes information given to you might not be enough, right? Based on what you know, you can easily enhance your data with the information. Based on the information you have, you can enhance and even deduce more data to getting a better information, right? So we've got the data analytics, which is a normal thing that we are trying to do, draw insights based on what you've got. Based on all your data, you are trying to draw insights, right? Draw insights, give information, and data visualization. Data visualization is basically from your insights, right? Most people might not really understand your insights because your insight will still include values, will still include data, will still include figures, numbers, right? So people that doesn't really understand what it entails to work with data will still be in vague, will still be in dark. That is why data visualization comes into play. So it means data visualization speaks directly to everybody, to a layman. So everybody sees what is happening, right? In terms of bar chart, in terms of flow chart, in terms of tree, in terms of histogram, in terms of so many other charts that we can use to like analyze or explain this data, right? So that is where data analytics, the data visualization is very, very important. So this is the life cycle of how it works, right? For the objective, objective basically means your brief. Why are you working with this data? I think it's important we've got that. We understand that very well. While working with the data, understand this, do your data cleaning, do your data enhancement, your data analytics, then your data visualization. I think it's important we also understand this. So I think earlier on, I was talking about descriptive data analysis, predictive data analysis, and the prescriptive data analysis, right? So, Oyinlola, is Oyinlola there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, can you please read what is up? Yeah. Okay, let's describe. Okay, read what is here. Read what is here.
So we have types of data analytics, and the first one is prescriptive analytics, enabling smart decisions based on data. What should we do?
Okay. Next one.
And the next one is predictive analytics, predicting the future based on historical patterns.
Yeah.
Then the third one is descriptive analytics. That one is mining data to provide business insights. That's what has happened.
Yeah. Basically, the way I explain it, I do from 3, 2, 1. Because most of the data that we use a whole lot, most of the data we use, and most of the data we'll be using, even in our companies, are always descriptive data, right? Descriptive data in such a way that the data that you have based on what has happened, right? Based on what has, I want to use that and see, okay, perhaps our sales are going down. We want to understand what has happened to our sales, right? What has happened to our sales based on the data that we have, right? So what happened in January? We made so number of sales. February, we made so number of sales, lower than what happened in January. So we start asking questions. What happened in January? What did we do better in January that we did not do in February? Or what is the government policy in January that is not working in February, right? Most of the time, yeah, this period where we have scarcity of dollar, where dollar has increased enormously, right? So we can start saying, okay, in January or in December, dollar was 1,001, right? Dollar was 1,002 something. As at last week, dollar was still 1,335. As at today, dollar rose from 370, 1,370, dropped to 1,360. I wouldn't know, maybe it has reached 1,400. As at close of it, I don't know. But as at around 12 or 11, yeah, no, 12, 1, around that period, it was 1,370, 370, 365, that range. So you can imagine those things might have affected your sales, right? And most people are complaining. So you cannot just say because people are complaining, your sales are not. You need to prove that with data. So I'm just giving you reasons why things might be happening. So these are reasons, those are data that we can easily merge and say in January, dollar was so and so. We were able to buy so and so numbers. People were able to purchase so and so because the price were low. February, dollar is so and so. We're able to purchase so and so. But we have fewer numbers of people who purchase so and so because dollar has increased. So these are things that really happens in predictive analysis. And most of the time, what we use the mean, median, mode, average to getting all these information, right? Mean, median, mode, average, I think standard deviation also, to getting this information in descriptive analytics, right? For predictive analysis, you are trying to predict what will happen in the next 4 or 5 years, right? Trying to forecast. I think that's the best word to use, to forecast what will happen, trying to forecast what will happen in the next 4 or 5 years, right? So we've got our company, we've been running our company for the past 4 or 5 years, and we feel, okay, let's predict what will happen. So we can forecast based on what we have, right? But what could happen in the next 5 years, right? So we can now use all these other big statistical models, right, to forecast. Right? We can now use all these big statistical models to forecast all these things. So we can be using the t-test, you understand all those tests, and other models to understand and see what will happen. Most of the time here, this for predictive analysis, we always see things, right? We see it out the way it is. But for predictive analysis, we'll be talking about error. So does the error tends to 1? If it is close to 1, yeah, I think we are right. We are right. We are right. We are on point. If it is lesser than 1, maybe close to 0, that is a very big error. Do you understand what I'm saying? So all these things are very, very important. So those are the things, those are the reasons and ways we always analyze predictive analysis. Then for prescriptive analytics is combining both predictive and descriptive together. Do you understand what I'm saying? Combining all these things together. For example, you've understood, okay, what happened, right? You've understood what happened during the course of the year. You try to predict what will happen in the next year, which happens a lot in bigger companies, multinationals. Okay, let's predict what will happen in the next year, right? Based on, it's beyond just data. It goes beyond just ordinary data that we see around. From you source for other data. Companies buy data with millions of naira, sometimes dollars, right? To enhance and aid their decision. So they will always buy data, even to the extent of getting government policies, right? Moving closer to government officials to understand in the next few years, in the next year, hope you are not going to change your policies as regards so, and so. Hope you are not going to change your policy. Okay, if you are going to change your policy, give us an hint as regards how things would happen. So from there, people will start planning ahead of time. So you can see data is beyond just what we have here. It goes a long way, even to the extent of getting government policies to enhance your decision making. So if you have all these things, merge all these things together. So sitting down in maybe in the management meeting, the big men meeting. When I mean big men meeting, I mean the directors, the EDs, and the likes. You understand? Making swift decisions. If you are amongst them, if you sit with them, I'm sure many of us are there. We understand what I'm saying. You understand, you enjoy the way they talk in terms of all these things. You might think they are not doing anything, but believe me, what they are doing is far, far more than what the middle class or the middle employee or the lower class in company does. You might think they are just sitting down, sipping tea or taking coffee, but what they are doing is far, far more than all these things, because these are things that they really want to like understand, know, and make decisions in such a way that those guys that are working, they get paid, and they are not going to be sacked. They won't sack them. They are not going to retrench them. They are not going to do almost all things. So data really works in all these aspects, right? So I think I've been able to explain more as regards all these things. You can see descriptive come first, predictive, then descriptives, prescriptive also follows whatever thing we are doing. I think I've been able to explain all these things better, even more than what I've written here. So we've got the type of data analytics, which is also what I've explained earlier, right? So not to waste much of our time. So this is also how to work with data analytics, descriptive data analytics, right? So I told you we've got mean, median, mode, we've got the range, the variance, the standard deviation, to getting the information of all these things, right? For descriptive analysis, right? So for variable, this is just an explanation of descriptive analysis, a vivid explanation of descriptive analysis, talking about you have these variants, right? For us to have one, for example, you've got a range. Maybe in one of your survey that you did, you said, give us your range salary. So people were now giving you between $20,000 to $80,000, right? So that is a range. That is not the exact salary the guy is having, right? So the best way to get that range, not the exact salary, but for something closer to what the guy earns, is to calculate the mean of that salary, right? Which is going to be 20 plus 40,000 or 20 plus 80,000, right? Divided by 2. Right? That is exact thing that is happening here. You can see we've got, these are just equal size, right? We've got the mean. This is very small. This is big. This is bigger, right? This is, will I say this is, I don't know. This is bigger compared to this, right? And this is smaller compared to this. So if you really want to get one cash flow or $1 bag, right? For all these things that represent 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got to calculate the mean of all this, which is also informing us about descriptive data analytics, which I think is very important also. This is our standard deviations. This is how it works. We've got the first percentile, you got the 95 value, the 68 value, right? You got the 99.7, which is the 3 standard deviation, yeah. You got the 2 ones, the 2, which we start from -2 to +2, 1 plus 1 to -1, then the 3 1, which is -3 to +3, right? So those are the ones that we use for descriptive analysis. For prescriptive analysis, I talked about forecasting, right? So it happens, basically, we can forecast what will happen in future. For example, I can forecast what your company will earn in the next 2 years or in the next year. Okay, this year we're able to beat our mark by making $1 billion gross income, right? Gross income, 1 billion. I'd be like, oh, wow, that's a very good thing. So let's forecast what will happen in the next coming year. Based on this, using this, and this, we can predict and say, oh, next year will be very, very hard. Oh, next year will be as easy as something. We can make more, right? But with what I'm seeing, it might be very hard because using all these things, taking all these things into consideration, taking all this data into consideration, we're able to see it's going to be very hard, and we might make less than what we made this year. So it's important for us to now start thinking, oh, how do we make more? What is those things? What are those things that we can like bypass, or before they come around, we jump over it? What are those things we can easily just make calls with just ordinary phone calls? We can solve that particular problem. So that's how it works. So we've got the regression, right? We've got the regression, we've got the simulations, right? Simulations basically is trying to like emulate what will happen. For example, this is Buhari Tinubu's regime, right? We want to simulate what are those policies Tinubu will make, right? And put our business inside that particular scenario. So based on that, we'll be like, okay, our business, if he says this, can we survive? Yes, we can. If he says this, and it's not about just, it's not just with our thinking, it's not just with our brain. It follows with all these things, comes with data, right? It comes with what? Data. We see figures. We're using figures to make our decisions, not just the brain, right? We use figures to make our decisions. So we can easily put our business or whatever thing we are doing or our project into that same scenario and see if our business or project will survive even before it happens. That is simulations, right? That's simulations. We've got classification, we've got clustering. So basically, most of the time we talk about forecasting, right? Most of the time we talk about forecasting, we talk about regressions and the like. So we can easily read more and see how it works. Like I said earlier, predictive basically are not things we do always, right? But of course, these are what combination of what descriptives and predictive analysis, right? So all these things are things I believe we can easily get within ourselves, right? And get so many things together. However, please, if you have questions, you can ask them, please. You can ask them, just raise up your hand, which I think is very, very important we'll do, right? So why big data? I think, yeah. Babatunde, you have a question before I start with this?
Please can I see slide 18 and 19 again?
Okay. This is it. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I said 18 and 19.
Yeah, 18. This is 18. This is 19, right? So I'm
Oh,
trying.
sorry, that means, no, okay, 17 and 18, please. Okay, this is 19. All right, thank you.
17 on what? This is 17 now.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yes,
okay.
I'm okay already.
Okay, do you want to ask a question here?
No. I was reading through and then it moved and then I'm trying to recall what I read.
Okay. Do you have any other question? Anybody with any other question before we move to the big data itself?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I have a question. I
No
saw that
problem,
you've
no
been
problem.
analysis and analytics interchangeably. Is there any difference between the two, or they mean the same thing?
Okay, I would explain that, right? I will explain that in a jiffy. I will explain that in a jiffy. Any other question, please? I'm trying to get things, all those things together. Any other one, please? Babatunde, please, are you done with that?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. To your question, sorry, who asked that question? Sorry.
Oyinlola.
Okay, to your question, Oyinlola. To your question, Oyinlola, data analytics, from what we said earlier, right? Data analytics basically is what? Let's start from there. From what we said earlier in the beginning, when we started, we talked about data analytics, talking about how to draw insights, right? Draw information, right? From what? There's something I want you to know. There's something I want you to know, right? We want to discover. Data analysis is the process of examining data and set in order to draw conclusion. That's just the basic thing, right? Draw conclusion in a broader aspect, in a very big aspect. How do I mean big aspect? So it means I want to get into all these things in total using all the tools available. That is data analytics, right? Using all the tools available, right? We've got so many tools available to get into all these things. We've got Excel, we've got Power BI, we've got Tableau, we've got SQL, we've got Python, we've got R, we've got so many other tools. We've got more than 18 or 20 different tools to get into all these things. So data analytics embodied everything, right? Data analytics embodied everything. So for data analysis basically is just one of those things. Basically, so if you are given an assignment or you are given a job to work on, what you are doing at that moment, you are analyzing the data. So you are doing data analysis. So basically what you are doing, you are trying as much as possible to extract information and make meaningful decisions from that particular singular data. Do you understand? From that particular singular data, that is what you are doing. So I can say data analysis is a subset. If you understand mathematics very well, when I mean mathematics, I mean if you understand, mathematics sets. So data analytics basically is a subset of data analysis. Sorry, data analysis is a subset of data analytics. Data analysis is a subset of data analytics. So I can say that data analytics is a specialized form of data analytics that is used in business to analyze data and take some insight. Exactly the way I've said it earlier, right? Is a subset of data analytics. Data analysis is inside data analysis. So in a broader world, in a broader way, perhaps in a general form, right? In a general form, and you want to like embodied or check the analysis using all the tools, right? Do you understand? Using all the tools, then we use data analytics in terms of that. So what we are doing basically, is data analytics because we are using more than one tool to analyze different data. So what we are doing, maybe if you are now working on different issue, maybe I give you an assignment. These are class is going to be project field class, where we have case studies to work on. So those case studies you are working on are going to be what? Analysis. You are doing analysis on those case studies. So, Ainde?
Okay,
Understood, sir.
can I make my comments now?
Okay, fine. Ainde, is Ainde, your hands is up, right? That's what I'm asking.
Yes, I actually want to say something, sir.
Okay, fine.
All right, thank you so much for the class. May God continue to increase your knowledge. I just want to ask about the from your explanation. So from my own background, what I understand of data is, like you said, information, collecting information. I'm talking about, the academic side now, and analyzing the data. okay, maybe when we get data, I want to work on language, for instance, we can go to the field, get data, then we use a particular theory to analyze, then we arrive at maybe one conclusion and things like that, the findings. So from your explanation, I think I want to ask if it is a little bit close to what we actually learned in school about, data analysis. Although this one, so I'm now thinking that, does it mean that the tools you are going to expose us to, does it mean that those tools are now like the theoretical framework that we're going to use to analyze data in the business fields and some other things you mentioned? So that's also what I want to hack, so that I will know that, okay, from the background, I'm still a little bit, close to what you are saying, or it's different entirely from what you learned in school as regard getting data from the field, then analyzing and forming your conclusion and things like that. So that's my question, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we are not done yet, right? But to quickly answer your question as regards that, what we are doing is nothing, is not far from what you are doing in school, getting data from the field, trying to analyze your data and drawing conclusions from your data and the like. The only difference here basically is, especially in the academic sector, academic sector, right? You are confined to a particular analysis style, right? For example, you are using XPSS to analyze. Most of the time, what you do basically is just use to, how will I put it now? To do data identification, data acquisition, you want to filter. We don't necessarily filter or do data aggregation basically. So there are things that are very, very important that we don't really do, that these expose us, give us more insights to making meaningful decisions as regards our data, right? It tends to get more information as regards our data. However, the idea that you have as in the academics world will still help, especially when it comes to predictive data analysis, right? So when it comes to the predictive aspect of data analysis, you will observe that what you've done, what you've learned, right? What we've learned basically are still intact. But of course, we can just move a little bit higher to getting our framework, to getting our data or our data sets more reasonable and for more people to work on. So we observe, of course, another difference basically is in the school setting, in academic setting, whatever you are doing, it's only your supervisor, your work, or people that really have, how will I put it, have knowledge as regards whatever you are doing, that understands whatever thing you are doing. But here, even a layman will understand everything in total, mere looking at your results, which is the visualization aspect of the class, right? Visualization aspect of the course, where people, once they see it, we can, even without you being there, they can easily make their own meaningful decision, right? Make that decisions and move on as regards the business. Not only in business, it also happens in academics also. Very, very important in academics, right? Not only business and academics, in sports. So even in sport, data is now like is in all sector. In Nigeria of today, most of the things that we lose, especially in NNPC, is data. They have data leaks. There are data leaks, right, where people use it. There was a time, sometimes 2-3 years ago, we were looking for Lagos State's employees' data, right? And we went as far as getting those data in Germany. And those things are correct, very, very correct. Even in Nigeria, a Nigerian company could not help us get that, right? Which means there are data leaks, and with that, we're able to do 1 or 2 things to get our result, and we move on with our life because we're able to pay our way to getting those data from an Igbo man. I wouldn't know how he got it. I wouldn't know how that company got that particular data, but those data are very, very correct because my wife also works in Lagos State government, and I searched for our own what's it called, our own information. I was able to get that information from that to confirm if it's really true, right? So these are things that I think are very, very important for us to do beyond how would I put it, beyond just academics, right? It cuts across all sectors of life. Have I been able to answer that, Hafiz?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. So I think I just need to like move faster right now. So yeah, big data analytics. So what do you mean by big data analytics? Yeah, let me call on Ainde. Can you please read what is on the screen, please?
Okay. Why big data analytics? Why is big data analytics important? Big data analytics helps organizations harness their data and use it to identify new opportunities that in turn leads to smarter business moves, more efficient operations, higher profits, and happier customers.
Yeah. So the question is, what is big data itself? What do you mean by big data itself? You can just try. So these are terms that I think we should learn, right? You can just try. Selim,
Analytics.
can you hear me? Are you there?
Okay. I think big data analytics has to do with achieving the. Okay, is Mr. Selim talking or?
Excellent. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry. I don't really know.
Okay,
I've
no
read
problem.
it before.
No problem. I
I
just
don't.
want you to try. Yeah, I just want you to try. So no problem. Okay, Ainde, you were saying something as regards big data. No problem. Thank you.
Yes, I said from what I could see on my screen here, I think the essence of big data analytics is
No,
just for
not
the
big
company
data
to
analytics now. Big data. Big data.
Okay, sir. Okay, what is meant? Okay, you're asking us what is meant by big data,
Big
right?
data. Yes.
Well, I don't know, sir.
Okay, fine. So from the word big data, it means a large set of data. Data that if you have data close to, say, more than 500,000, 1 million data in a data set, we regard those type of data set as big data. So you can imagine the number of data Twitter we have, we're working with, right? So those data that are very complex to work with traditional tools, right? Data are very complex to work with traditional tools that will drag or lag your tool, or even sometimes on the web, if you are working with the web, I'm a web developer also. If you are working with the web and you did not build your web in such a way that it will contain more than 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 users at the same time, right? Your website will lag. If care is not taken, your website will crash. So when we were growing up in school, we thought that website has crashed. The website that schools UI website has crashed. Kinikon website has crashed. Why? Because the way they were doing it, they did not even pay into consideration that so many people can be logging in at the same time, right? When people log in at the same time, right, it means, and you did not even give that space, that ability to expand at will when people logs in at the same time, right? So those periods, we'll see that particular app went down. That was when OP comes in, right? When we had the cashless policy last year, when every other people where most banks were shutting down in terms of the apps were crashing, OPay has been able to improve on their own web analytics, web apps, right? To contain as many people as possible at the same time in order not to let their app crash. So big data are data that are big enough, right? Are complex enough, right? Not to be able to like get things the same way. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you have more than 500,000 to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million data in a data set, which is very, very important, it's possible to have all those things, right? to have all, it's possible to have all those things. You can imagine Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all this. I'm using these social media because those are places where data are being used. Data analytics are being used most of the time, right? So those are big data. You can't expect them to be using Excel to analyze their data. You can't expect them to be using ordinary calculator, one plus two plus two, or trying to calculate t-tests, trying to calculate all these new models, right? Big models and statistical models using biros, pens, calculator, or even mainframe computers to get. You can't expect them to be doing all those. So big data, and one of the advantage of these big data are because you have those large pool of data, you can easily analyze and make predictions. Do you understand? You can easily analyze, make predictions, and your predictions will be right because you've gotten like more than enough data to analyze. So based on that, we can predict, you can optimize, you can empower, you can embed, you can discover, you can trust, and you can describe a particular scenario. That's why I talked about user persona earlier. People in the entrepreneurial world, people in the management sector will understand what I mean, right? That was why I talked about a user persona, right? You try as much as possible to embody like 1,000 people, 1,000 users into, we want to infuse 1,000 users into one person. You know, 1,000 users with different activity, different priority, different, so many things, demographics, psychology, and everything mentally. You want to infuse every other thing into one person, right? So every other thing you are doing in terms of product targeting, you're just targeting it to that particular one person. So once you target to that one person, automatically you've targeted 1,000 people at once, right? So those are the things you can see it's a cost reduction, right? Makes sense. It's faster and better decision making. Yeah, with big data, you can do all these things very well. New products are, yeah, from there you can see what people are saying. Let me give you one example. 2015, that was when Coca-Cola started using data. And how did they get to know all these things? You can Google it, you can fact check me. How did they get to know this thing? They discover that every 2 seconds on Google, their name is being mentioned. Is it 2 seconds or 2 minutes? Every 2 seconds or 2 minutes on Google, their name is being mentioned. They were able to get that. And when they were surprised, like, wow, what is happening? So from there, they were able to see what people are asking, what people are saying. It's just like these days when you keep trending on Twitter and say, oh, Babatunde is trending on Twitter. So the first question will be, is it for good or is it for bad? What are they saying about me? That will be the next thing. Maybe you've got a product and you're like, oh, my product is trending. What are they saying about the product? So from there, it gives them an insight as regards what people need, what their pain points, and from there, they try as much as possible to work on those things. Till date, Coca-Cola is still one of the best brands in the world. And you can imagine if you travel outside Nigeria, Coca-Cola brand differs in every country. In the US, you've got like more than 7 brands of Coca-Cola. And those brands are not just because someone just sit down in the production room and feel, oh, we need to start doing this, or we need to start changing this. It's a function of this data aggregation. And they discover that these are things people really need. And they don't want to go away from the market. If care is not taken, people will just pick up the market and boom, they are off. It happens in Nigeria when Biggie Cola came, right? People were not because of the taste. Again, people were not going for the taste. They were going for what? The size. Because they saw, oh, Coca-Cola has changed their size to a smaller size. Biggie Cola just came in and people were going for it. And in the real sense, logically speaking, the size is not up to like 10 mil. Do you understand? It's not up to 10 mil. The size difference is not up to 10, but because people feel it's now bigger, wow, we need to go for a bigger thing compared to the smaller thing. And when they discover that, they change their business model and they start changing. All these things are based on data, not anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? So big data is very, very important when it comes to data analytics and, of course, working with big companies. So having said all those, so we need to like understand what tools we really need to work with. Very important also. The tools we really need to work with. So I said we've got so many tools to work with. Like we've got so many tools that we can use for data analytics, right? I said we've got Python, SQL, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, R, so many other ones, right? SPSS, there are so many ones that we use for data analysis, not limited to these four. But this class will be doing these four. And why? Because these four are the most sought after tools, skills you need to learn, right? So Python is a programming language that embodies almost everything when it comes to programming language, when it comes to machine learning, when it comes to automations, when it comes to web development, when it comes to desktop applications, and of course, the new thing, when it comes to what's it called, cybersecurity, Python is also very, very useful, right? Because it has a very large community and they've been able to make sure that it cuts across almost all sectors in what? In IT department, right? So machine learning, data analytics is there. You use Python, right? To get all these things done with the help of different modules. There's something we call library, right? With the help of different libraries, we've been able to we use this for data analysis, right? So SQL, structured query language, is just for us to like to be able to like the structured data that we already have. We want to analyze them, clean those data, and as much as possible, transfer those data for visualization for people to see, right? It's not enough for us to keep those data in the database, right? People needs to see, or people that needs to see the results in order to make recommended, in order to make good decisions, right? Needs to see it via what? Visualization, right? So Excel is used, is also a mini programming language. Yeah, let me say it that way. A low-level programming language, because when we start using it, you see that so Excel can do this, so Excel can do that also, right? Excel is a low-level programming language in which we also can use it for what? Complex data analysis. So what is Power BI? Power BI basically is Power Business Intelligence, right? It's basically used for what? Visualization, right? On the spot visualization. So anything that happens, we can easily connect this. It has a desktop app, which you are going to use, which is not quite different from a web app. They've got a web app, which in real time, when anything changes on the web, right? Especially when you connect it to your SQL, to your database, it can be connected to your database server. When you connect it to your database server, and you've been able to structure the database in such a way that anything that happens, it shows the result almost immediately, right? It shows the result, and we can view what is happening in the database, even without going back to the database. As the business lead, as the MD CEO of the company, or as in any other capacity that we are, we can easily get all these things done as soon as we can on the spot, right? So this can be connected to this, it can be connected to this, and of course, this also has its own data visualization proper, right? So this is how it works. So these are the four main tools we will be working with. And the way we are going to do it, basically, we normally start from known to unknown. We already know, every one of us we know what Excel, we know Excel. We've been using Excel right from day one. The only thing we just want to introduce us to is things that we think Excel cannot do, right? Those things that we feel Excel cannot do, we want to show you that Excel can easily do more than what you think it can do. So those are the things we want to. We want to start from what you know, which is Excel. Then we move to SQL, from SQL to Power BI, then from Power BI to Python. Those are the four skills you'll be using. And once you know how to use Power BI, of course, you will know how to use Tableau. Power BI is a product developed by Microsoft. Tableau does the same thing Power BI does. The only difference is Tableau is an application developed by Google. Do you understand? Tableau is an application developed by Google. So it's the same thing. So that's why since we've been using Microsoft products, Microsoft products. SQL also, Microsoft also has a database, a DBMS that is being used for what's structured query language. So we move to Python. So all these things are reasons why we'll be using all these things together to work with and get real information. So these are where we can work. We can work as a data analyst, a data journalist, a data scientist, which I think many of us, some of us are working already as, right? So this is the sexiest job in the 21st century. So we can all see as a data analyst, this is Harvard Business Review, right? This is Harvard Business Review. We can see that data analysts basically are very, very important in all sectors, right? Yeah, very, very important in all sectors. And I think it's important to understand this very well and know all it takes. So these are people that uses data analytics to work, right? So we can see Facebook has over 2.7 billion, right? It uses, can you imagine how do they know that these are the things that fit you in terms of targeting, ads targeting? Right? If not for the help of the show, data analytics, you analyze what you are doing, where you have the views, your friends, your type of friends, where are they, what are those things that are happening. Based on that, they make a decision and target you prefer a good or a need adverts that when you see them, you feel like, is Google listening to my life? Is Google listening to me? Sometimes that's happened before. Maybe you and your friend were talking about something, and once you log on to a computer with the internet, you just see that thing. That thing is called retargeting, right? They are retargeting you as regards what you've done earlier, right? Which makes more sense. So Amazon basically use this to improve their data to improve their e-commerce experience, right? So which makes sense. You know, Amazon is an e-commerce platform, right? And they've got so many things. They've got Prime, they've got almost all the Uber also use this to optimize their ride, especially in Nigeria. You know, when Uber came and Taxify came, their Google Map thinking was bad. So if you are using their map to walk around, you get to a stage, you tell you there's a road, whereas it's a close. Sometimes it is even a wall, not even a close, a wall. So with that, as time goes on with the advent of data analytics, they were able to like check things. And of course, Google also does that also to improve their Google Map experience, especially in Nigeria, right? You hardly see where Google Map will lead you astray in right from 2022. Right, I don't think I've experienced Google leading me astray any longer, right? Which makes sense. I mean Google Map. So Bank of America also use this for increasing customer experience. Not only Bank of America, Nigerian banks also use this. You can see that most of the time they send you mails, they send you this, they send you that, gives you what they think it's beneficial and be useful to you. Not because of anything, it's because of the data. They have your data, and based on your data, perhaps your age, your class, they can say, oh, this person is this person needs this. Let's target this person with one of our products, right? Airbnb also use this for improved searches, right? Which makes sense, right? Then Spotify for music recommendation. Spotify and Netflix does the same thing, right? The Netflix, you observe that when a new movie comes out, depending on what you are used to watching on Netflix, that is what they will target you with. If you are used to watching American movie or seeing series, right? So they target you when there is a new series, they target you with a new series. Have you ever asked yourself, why are they targeting me with new series? Because they know this is what you are used to watching, right? So if you are used to watching Yoruba movie or Nigerian movie, they target you with new Yoruba movie that comes there, right? Which makes sense. And of course, Spotify also recommend music based on what you've been listening to. So I talked about this earlier. I don't need to like discuss this again. I've discussed almost everything as regards what Amazon uses data analytics to do, right? For fraud detections, for so many other things. They check, there is an algorithm. If you are used to, I think ATS understand all these things very well. There's something we call algorithm on social media, right? The algorithm detects so many things. So if you really want your product or your content to go viral, there are ways and manners you will do it, You tell you, Twitter algorithm has changed. These are the things you need to do. Instagram algorithm has changed. These are the things you need to do, right? So Amazon also uses data analytics for fraud detection to check whatever you've been doing, check your cards usage, check whatever thing, check your credit card. You will see sometimes if you are using a dollar card, they might want to flag your dollar card sometimes because they might think maybe your dollar card, especially if you are using all these virtual cards, right? Maybe they feel the virtual card is in the US. Yeah, your virtual card is legit, right? Is in the US. Maybe the bank and everything is in the US. And they detect that your, what's it called? Your IP. Your IP is stating Nigeria, Africa. So it means something is happening somewhere and they might want to flag it, right? Which makes more sense, right? Sometimes you might be frustrated, but of course, those are the things they've really checked, they've put in check to making sure that people are safe on their website. So I've explained all these. I've explained we can check through maybe during your time to like read through basically and to check how all these things are being used, right? So that is that as regards explanation and the onboarding process when it comes to data analytics, Nakelgreen data analytics. So we move straight to our first class, which is going to be working with Excel, Microsoft Excel. But before we move into that, I would want to ask, I want to ask you if you have any questions so far, clarification, and of course, one or two things. HS, do you have anything to say? Is HS there? Okay, HS is not here any longer. So, do you have any questions so far? Ainde? Ainde, is Ainde there? Okay, fine. Babasunde, Wumi, Uyinlola, Quadri, yeah, Quadri, I have not called you. Quadri, are you there? Can you hear me?
Mm.
Okay, Babasunde, you want to say something?
No, I just signaling I'm here. You called my name, so I just wanted to signal I'm here.
Oh, fine. Do you have any questions so far? Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Quadri, is Quadri there? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm there, sir. Good
Okay, any
evening.
questions so far? Based
Not
on
really.
what
I'm
you've
just
learned.
going on with the
So I'm
class.
going to ask question if you're not asking me any question, just to confirm.
Tutor, don't start here too.
So basically, I've tried to change my screen. So I want everybody to, I want to assume we'll all have Microsoft Excel on our laptop. Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, fine. If you don't, please let's try as much as possible to see how we can install it. It's one of yeah, we can easily get it in Nigeria. Can easily get it in Nigeria. Please, let's get it. Very important because this is what we'll be using, and we'll be surprised that this Microsoft Excel works wonders, right? It works wonders. So basically what we are going to do is for the few time, maybe in the next 20 minutes, I'll just be introducing us to Microsoft Excel alone. I want to assume for people that are just seeing this for the first, I want to assume we are just seeing this for the first time. And for people that are just seeing this for this first time, I want to quickly introduce you to Microsoft Excel and what it works, how does it works, and just tell us the usefulness of all these menu bars, right? So we might not be able to finish all, but of course, we'll start something today. So in order not to waste much of our time, so let me quickly start. Basically, this is Microsoft Excel. And Microsoft Excel basically is, like I said earlier, Microsoft Excel is just mini programming language, right? I said it's a mini programming language. Very, very important for us to know that. The mini programming language where we can use, we use it to organize numbers, data, to get formulas, and to write functions, right? So we can see that because we can write functions, we can write formulas, we call it a programming language, because programming language also has functions, right? So because it cannot do bigger things, right? We cannot do bigger things what higher level programming language does, right? So we call it a low level. Me personally, I call it a low level programming language, right? That is what I call it personally. Call it low level programming language because it does as, yeah, close to what the likes of Python, the likes of PHP, the like of Java, C# does, but it doesn't do a more complex work. It doesn't do more complex work. Those ones do, right? And it doesn't have an OOP. There's something we call OOP in programming language, yeah? There's something we call OOP in programming language. So it doesn't do that, right? Excel does not do that. So that's one of the major reasons why we cannot call it an high level programming language, right? So those things are very, very important for us to like know. So for us to like work with these, so the next thing basically is just to work with, just see what happens in the file. So I just click on files. How do we get to know this? Just go to your start menu, click on Excel and launch your Excel, right? Launch your Excel from there, then you click, just let me quickly take you through this file, right? Take you through this place. So this is all new, is just when you want to open a new folder, open an existing folder. Then where I really want to like show you things is save and save as. This save and save as. So we can easily save, this is where we save our work, basically, right? This is where we save our work. So for save as, perhaps we want to change our extension, the file extension, so we use save as to do that. If you are changing the file extension, let me show you. I'm clicking on this, then I'm using this. So if I want to change this file extension, what do I mean by file extension? This save as type. So normally it is what? Excel workbook, right? We have so many other things I'm going to show you here. So especially this is what sometimes you might use this CSV. There's something we call CSV, comma separated value, right? Something we call CSV, comma separated value that you might see there. You might encounter this. And of course, these are also things that works better in SQL, right? It works better in SQL. So it works in SQL at the same time in what? Excel. So sometimes you can also use this. So this is where you might want to change the save as type or even change the name of what? Of your workbook. So there are two different things I want to show you. Let me come back here. So the whole sheet, when we open a new worksheet, a new Excel file, when we open a new Excel file, the whole of Excel file, which is this book one, is called a workbook, right? So it's called a workbook. So inside a workbook, we've got a worksheet. So all these sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4 that we've got, these are all worksheets, right? These are all worksheets, which I think is very important. These are all worksheets. So all these things are important. We know the old file is called a workbook, and individual sheets here are called what? Worksheets. Please note that. Please note that. So I'm here. I've been able to explain these. Then print. Most of the time, I don't think we need print. Most of the time we don't need it, right? So what I really want to explain again is here, accounts and is this account and options, right? So on this account, once you click on account, if you really want to know your office year, you want to know the year that your office was built, your Microsoft Office was built, the year you are using, this is where you see it from your account. You just see it 2016, right? This is Office 2016, Office 2021, Office 2019. You will see it Office 2019. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this is where you will see every other thing you really want to see here. So from your account, you can easily check and know the year of your, we said you must use 2016 and above, right? If you have 2013, yeah, we can still manage it. When we get to an aspect where we'll be using something called Power Query, that's when we'll give you something to install. So once you install that, we'll be able to use that particular application on our Excel. But from 2016 and above, that particular application is an inbuilt. They now made it an inbuilt plugin for all Office product, right? They made an inbuilt plugin for all Office product. That's why we said we recommended Microsoft Office Excel 2016 and above, right? So for options here, we can use it to doing so many things. So for options, if you want to change your Excel look, want to change so many things. For example, if you are just opening your Excel for the first time, or you are just the type that just use your Excel for addition, subtraction, multiplication, there are some things that you are seeing on my own bar. You might not be seeing there, especially sometimes developer might not be there. Help will be there, I think. Inquire might not be there. Power Pivot might not be there, I'm sure. So if you really want to enable all these things, you come to options, then you go to advanced, right? Then we can click, check, and uncheck so many things, right? Check and uncheck so many things. So another thing that I think it's very, very important for us is to what? Go to customize ribbon. Customize ribbon is what? All these things. These are just your ribbon. All these menu bars here, file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, and the like. So these are places that you can just come and just change this thing to main tab, right? This is the main tab, change it to main tab. From main tab, you see what is there, right? Your developer, if it is not checked, you check it. Your clinical, if it is not checked, you check them. And when you finish checking them, you just click on OK. Once you click on OK, everything goes and you see them there. Very important. I think it's important to know all those. So I've been able to show you how this works. So if you really want to change your color, the theme of your Excel, you understand, you come to options, you do whatever general, you go back and change, you can change the theme, right? To black and white, or change so many things you want to change here. So I'm just trying to give you, if you have issues as regards your Excel, you can go there and rectify all those issues on your own, right? Without anybody's help, or without also uninstalling. Most of the time, people just, let me just uninstall and install again, Jerry. Instead of doing that, with that, I've been able to show you what you can do as regards that. Ainde? Yeah, I can hear your hand is up. So can Ainde hear me?
Yes, I wasn't hearing you before, but I can hear you now.
Okay.
I wanted to tell you that the things I have on my own screen here, although my Excel is just 2010, I'm yet to get the 2016 version.
Okay.
I don't have the options. I only have insert, page layout, formulas, data review, and view. There are no what's it
Yeah.
called, options and some
Yeah.
other ones.
So no problem. Once you have that installed on your system, I'm sure all those ones will be there. But of course, if you are not showing, you can go back to your
All right.
options, go to options, the way exactly I showed you earlier. Click on options and come to customize ribbon. From there, go to main tabs and check. Do you have developers checked? Do you have all these things there? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so you can check all these things that are there if you have them on your own, right? If you have them there, you can check them and just click on OK. I'm sure those things will show. But of course, sometimes many of us, I'm sure you just want to check everything, but you might not be able to be using Power Pivot, Inquire, blah, 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 blah. Do you understand? So just don't worry. Maybe tomorrow, I'm sure you must have, you should be able to like rectify that by just upgrading your Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Office to, even if it is 2013, yeah, we'll manage that. We'll still be able to run some functions and it will work. So when it comes to giving you something that we need to run, yeah, I will tell you. If it is 2013 that you can see, yeah, I will tell you, then we install that. Then, of course, we'll be in class. Everybody will be on the same page as regards that. So let me quickly just run through this, the home page, right? So home page, basically, we've got our clipboard. The clipboard here is just like where our text, our data are being copied into, right? A virtual place where our data are being copied into. So from there, we can easily retrieve those things that we copy, that we want. Yeah, retrieve them by pasting or by doing any other thing we want to do to it. That's the key clipboard, right? So if you have something here in our data like A, B, C, from there you can see this is enabled, right? I can copy, so we've got cut, we've got paste, copy, then what's this, format printer, this is paste, right? So we want to paste. So all these things have their own commands also. So here is the font, can change the font size, the font size, the font type. This is a font type, this is a font size, right? So we can increase it, decrease it, change the color, font color, background color, and the like. So this is where the font comes in, right? Alignment talks about this is up, middle, down, right? Left, center, right. So we want to move, increase indentation, decrease the indentation. These are things that what happens here, right? This is here where we call number. This is where we call the data type, right? We want to change the data type of a particular data. What do I mean by data type? Is your data type a letter? If it is a letter, we choose text. If it is figure or numbers, we choose what number, right? So if it is general here just means A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. So it's a general means we are talking about both numbers and alphabet. So, but if I really want to like specify my data type, right? So I want my data type to be all numbers. This is where I'm going to change that, right? So don't worry, when we start working with data, we'll see how this thing works. I'm just trying to explain how these things and how it works at the moment. So I think I'm going to stop here. We've really given more than how do I mean? We don't want to like overwhelm us with too much of information today. So we can have time to like go through what we did today, and of course by next class we'll know we are coming into the class fully for class, and we'll be working with at least data to like explain all these things. And of course, before next class, we're going to send out the course content, right? I think course content. Yeah, the course content to every one of us, just for us to see how best, where we really want to do, what we really want to do then. So with that, we can easily benchmark and even like check ourselves. Have you been able to get this? Have you been able to get based on what we've like planned ourselves to work with in the next 4 weeks, right? Which makes more sense. So we send out the course content for everybody, but at the end of each week, there will always be a case study to work with. And of course, don't worry, it's going to be a very simple and easy one for every one of us to work with at the same time. So not that was to waste much of our time. Do you have any questions so far? Questions so far, please. Selim, do you have any question? Lola, any question?
I don't. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't have any questions, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah, Ainde?
Yes, I wanted to ask if there is a way, if you can get the slides for tonight's lecture, so that we can go through them
Okay.
on our own.
Okay. Nah, No, yeah, we'll try and see, talk to others, other members of to see if if they will all agree to do that. We've not been sending that to people, right? Because we believe we've got videos. We can always go back to the videos, watch them, ask questions from
Okay,
there.
there's no
If we have
problem. We have the
compelling
videos.
things. Yeah. You said what? What did you say? What did you
I
say?
say if you can have the videos,
Yeah,
that
of
would be
course.
better.
There's always videos. Yeah, yeah. At the end of each class, you have the videos, you have a summary of today's class. Summary of each class will be sent together with the video. Yeah, for everybody to like view and see.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Babatunde.
I'm good.
Okay.
No question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wumi.
No questions, sir.
Oh, thank you. Wumi has not.
No question from my side. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Kodri, you've not been talking. I called you earlier. Okay, no problem, no problem. Since there is no other questions, we can just call it a night. Then we meet on Thursday, God willing. Thank you, and have a wonderful night rest.